Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here today. I'm delighted to welcome you to this presentation on regulatory expectations for HVAC systems. My name is Dr. S.K. Singh, and I hold a PhD in this field. Today, we'll explore the key regulatory standards and best practices that govern HVAC systems. We'll cover the main expectations, compliance requirements, and how to ensure your systems meet these important standards. I look forward to sharing valuable insights with you all. Let's get started. Let's talk about why regulators focus on HVAC systems in pharmaceutical and healthcare environments. HVAC systems play a crucial role because they directly impact several key aspects. First, they are essential for maintaining product sterility and microbial control, which is vital for ensuring that medicines and vaccines are safe and effective. Without proper environmental control, the risk of contamination increases significantly. Secondly, HVAC systems help prevent cross-contamination between different products or processes, which is critical in maintaining product integrity. They also regulate environmental conditions like temperature and relative humidity, which are essential for both product stability and patient safety. Speaking of safety, HVAC systems are integral to ensuring patient safety and maintaining high product quality. Any failure here can compromise entire batches or even patient health. Now, when we look at the regulatory landscape, several major bodies oversee these standards. The World Health Organization, or WHO GMP, sets international guidelines. In the United States, the FDA is the primary regulator, and in Europe, it's the European Medicines Agency, or EU GMP. These organizations emphasize the importance of robust HVAC systems as part of overall good manufacturing practices to protect public health and ensure product quality. Now, let's take a closer look at some key guidelines that govern our industry standards. First, we have the EU GMP Annex 1, which specifically addresses sterile manufacturing, emphasizing the importance of maintaining a sterile environment. Then, there's EU GMP Part I and Annex 15, which focus on qualification and validation processes. These ensure that our facilities and processes are consistently producing quality products. Moving over to the U.S., the FDA's 21 CFR Parts 210 and 211 set the regulatory framework for pharmaceutical manufacturing and control. And finally, the WHO TRS provides HVAC guidance tailored for pharmaceutical facilities, highlighting the critical role of environmental control systems. Regulators expect us to adopt a risk-based approach when designing HVAC systems. This means thoroughly assessing potential risks and ensuring our design mitigates them effectively. Qualification must be completed before the system goes into operation, confirming that our HVAC setup meets all necessary standards. Continuous monitoring is also essential. By doing so, we can promptly detect and address any deviations that might compromise product quality. And of course, lifecycle management ensures that our HVAC systems remain compliant and effective throughout their entire operational life, adapting as needed over time. All of these points connect to our broader goal of maintaining high-quality, compliant manufacturing environments that safeguard patient safety. These guidelines aren't just rules. They're a foundation for building robust, reliable facilities. Let's start by looking at the example of aseptic filling, which is typically done in a Grade A environment with a Grade B background. This highlights how different cleanroom grades are used depending on the process and product requirements. Moving on to tablet compression, this usually takes place in an ISO 8 environment, which equates to a Grade D background. It's important to note that particle control here is based on risk assessments, so not every situation demands the strictest controls. When we talk about non-sterile manufacturing, the standards tend to be somewhat less stringent. Typically, it occurs in ISO 8 environments, similar to Grade D, and particle control is tailored to the specific risk involved. Microbial limits are also less strict compared to sterile processes. Now, looking at cleanroom classification expectations, for sterile manufacturing, things are more precisely defined. We have specific cleanroom grades, A, B, C, and D, depending on the process. These align with ISO classifications from ISO 5 to ISO 8. Additionally, in sterile environments, continuous monitoring is essential, especially in grade A and B areas, to ensure that conditions stay within the required limits at all times. Understanding these differences helps us appreciate how the environment plays a crucial role in ensuring product quality and safety across various manufacturing processes. Let's dive into some key considerations for both non-sterile and sterile environments. For non-sterile facilities, it's crucial to have a dust containment strategy in place to prevent contamination. Additionally, calculating the right air changes per hour, or ACH, ensures proper airflow and cleanliness. Managing how materials and personnel move through the space is also essential to minimize contamination risks. And of course, design qualification, or DQ, sets the foundation for a properly designed facility that meets all necessary standards. Switching gears to sterile environments, regulators have clear expectations. They want to see a documented contamination control strategy, often called a CCS, that outlines how contamination will be prevented and managed. Unidirectional airflow in critical zones is a must. It helps keep sterile areas free from cross-contamination. Pressure cascade diagrams are also important. They visually represent how pressure differentials flow across different zones, maintaining the proper environment. Lastly, redundancy in critical systems ensures that if one system fails, others can take over, maintaining sterile conditions without interruption. Connecting all these points, whether non-sterile or sterile, the goal is to build a robust environment that consistently safeguards product quality and patient safety. Let's talk about filtration and HEPA requirements. When it comes to sterile environments, using a terminal HEPA filter that's either H13 or H14 is mandatory. These filters are crucial for ensuring the air stays free of contaminants. It's also essential to perform integrity testing, like PAO or DOP tests, both at the time of installation and periodically afterward, to confirm the filters are functioning properly. Plus, we need to have proper documentation of leak-free installation to verify everything was set up correctly. Now, for non-sterile environments, the requirements are a bit different. Typically, pre-filters combined with fine filters are sufficient to maintain air quality. HEPA filters are only necessary if a risk assessment indicates there's a potential hazard that demands higher filtration. It's also important to note that regulatory expectations emphasize having a documented filter replacement schedule and traceability. This means keeping records of when filters are replaced and ensuring that everything is traceable for compliance and quality assurance purposes. Overall, understanding these filtration requirements helps us maintain a safe and compliant environment, whether sterile or non-sterile, aligning with the overall goal of ensuring product quality and safety. In this slide, I want to highlight a real-world example of a regulatory observation. The FDA issued a 483 notice because of inadequate pressure monitoring in the sterile filling area. This underscores how critical proper pressure control is in maintaining the integrity of sterile environments. For non-sterile areas, the typical pressure differential is around 5 to 10 pascals. This range helps prevent cross-contamination between different zones. Whether you log pressure manually or with automated systems, what's important is keeping consistent records to demonstrate control. In sterile areas, the standards are more stringent. A minimum of 10 to 15 pascals difference between grades is required to maintain proper segregation. Continuous monitoring with alarms is essential here, so any deviation triggers immediate response. Additionally, interlocked doors in critical areas serve as a physical barrier to maintain pressure differentials and prevent contamination. Connecting this to the overall theme, these examples show how rigorous pressure control measures are essential for compliance and, ultimately, for patient safety. Proper monitoring and control are not just regulatory requirements, they are fundamental to ensuring product integrity and quality. Now let's take a closer look at the environmental monitoring, or EM, requirements for both non-sterile and sterile environments. For non-sterile areas, the focus is on periodic particle counts, which help us monitor cleanliness over time, and limited microbial monitoring to ensure safety. While trending is required, it tends to be less intensive compared to sterile environments, reflecting the lower risk level. Switching to sterile environments, the monitoring becomes more rigorous. We need continuous particle monitoring, especially in critical grade A or B areas, to maintain aseptic conditions. Routine viable monitoring is also essential to detect any microbial presence promptly. Additionally, trend analysis and investigations of any excursions are vital to understand and address issues quickly. It's important to note that regulators expect us to justify our alert and action limits scientifically. This means setting thresholds based on solid data and understanding, so we can respond effectively without unnecessary interruptions. Overall, these requirements are designed to ensure product quality and patient safety by maintaining strict environmental controls aligned with the risk level of the environment. Let's take a closer look at the qualification expectations for HVAC systems. When it comes to both sterile and non-sterile areas, there are some fundamental requirements we need to meet. First, we have IQ, which stands for Installation Qualification. This ensures that the HVAC system is installed correctly according to specifications. Then there's OQ, or Operational Qualification, which verifies that the system operates as intended under normal conditions. Now, for sterile areas specifically, there's an additional layer of validation called PQ, or Performance Qualification. This step confirms that the system consistently performs effectively in real-world conditions. To support this, we also conduct airflow visualization, often through smoke studies, to ensure proper airflow patterns. Recovery time studies are performed to assess how quickly the environment returns to desired conditions after disturbance. And of course, HEPA integrity certification is critical to confirm that the filtration system maintains its high standards of cleanliness. Requalification is also a key part of maintaining these standards. Typically, sterile critical areas need requalification every 6 to 12 months. This ongoing process helps us ensure that the HVAC systems continue to meet the necessary requirements, supporting the overall integrity of our controlled environments. Let's talk about temperature and humidity control. In sterile areas, the main goal is to control these conditions not only to keep everything aseptic, but also to ensure operator comfort. When deviations occur, we need to perform impact assessments to understand how these changes might affect the process or the product. In non-sterile environments, the control approach shifts slightly. Here, stability is the priority, especially for hygroscopic APIs that can easily absorb moisture. Seasonal mapping becomes essential to anticipate and adjust for environmental variations throughout the year. For example, in the effervescent tablet area, we keep the relative humidity below 30%. This is crucial because higher humidity could lead to degradation of the product, compromising its efficacy and safety. So, maintaining proper humidity levels is key to preserving product quality across different manufacturing scenarios. Let's talk about data integrity and automation, which are crucial in ensuring the reliability of our systems. Regulators expect that our systems are compliant with 21 CFR Part 11, where applicable, meaning they adhere to specific standards for electronic records and signatures. This helps maintain trust and accountability. Secure data storage is also essential. Our building management systems, or EMS, need to store data securely to prevent tampering or loss. Audit trails are another vital aspect. They provide a documented history of all data entries and changes, ensuring transparency and traceability. Alarm management documentation is also key. It ensures that all alarms are properly recorded and managed, which is critical for quick response and compliance. When it comes to sterile areas, the standards become even more stringent. Continuous data recording is required to monitor conditions without interruption, ensuring sterility is maintained at all times. Additionally, backup power supplies are mandatory in sterile zones. This ensures that even during a power outage, data recording and critical processes can continue seamlessly, maintaining the integrity of the environment. All these points together highlight how critical robust data integrity and automation practices are in supporting regulatory compliance and maintaining the highest standards of quality and safety. Let's talk about maintenance and change control. When it comes to sterile environments, it's crucial to handle HEPA filters carefully. Replacing HEPA filters should always be done under controlled conditions to prevent any contamination. After major maintenance activities, requalification is essential to ensure everything remains within the required specifications. And of course, conducting an impact assessment is mandatory whenever significant changes are made, so we understand how these modifications might affect the environment. For non-sterile areas, maintaining a preventive maintenance schedule is key. It helps us stay ahead of potential issues and keeps the systems running smoothly. Additionally, any change control documentation must be completed thoroughly to keep a proper record of modifications, ensuring traceability and compliance. Now, a critical regulatory concern here is uncontrolled HVAC modifications. If changes are made without proper oversight, they can significantly increase the risk of contamination. That's why strict control and documentation are so vital. They help us maintain the integrity of our environments and stay compliant with regulations. Let's take a closer look at the Contamination Control Strategy, or CCS. When it comes to sterile environments, the European GMP Annex 1, updated in 2022, emphasizes the importance of having a formal and well-documented CCS in place. This means companies need to develop comprehensive plans that are clearly written down and accessible. One key element is conducting a thorough HVAC risk assessment. This helps identify potential contamination risks related to the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems, which are critical in maintaining a sterile environment. Next, condensate management is essential, controlling moisture to prevent microbial growth and contamination. Another important point is the filter integrity strategy. Ensuring that filters are functioning properly and maintaining their integrity is vital for keeping contaminants out. And finally, having a robust power failure recovery plan is crucial. In case of a power outage, you need to be prepared to restore the environment quickly and effectively to prevent contamination risks. Now, for non-sterile environments, the approach is a bit different. It tends to be more risk-based, meaning companies assess the risks and implement controls accordingly. But there's no formal mandate requiring a detailed CCS like in sterile areas. Overall, this slide highlights how the level of control and documentation varies depending on the environment. But in all cases, managing contamination risks is a top priority. This is essential in ensuring product quality and patient safety throughout the manufacturing process. Let's take a look at some of the common non-sterile observations that can impact overall quality. First, dust accumulation in ducts is a significant concern because it can lead to contamination if not properly controlled. Then, inadequate humidity control, or RH, can affect product stability and microbial growth. We also often see a lack of airflow rebalancing records, which makes it difficult to verify consistent environmental conditions over time. These issues can have serious consequences, including the issuance of warning letters, product recalls, or even suspending sterile operations altogether. Moving on to sterile observations, some typical deficiencies include inadequate smoke studies, which are essential for confirming proper airflow patterns. Poor HEPA filter integrity documentation is another common problem, as it raises questions about the effectiveness of air filtration. Unjustified pressure excursions are also problematic because they can compromise the sterile environment. Lastly, insufficient trending of environmental monitoring. Data hampers our ability to detect trends or emerging risks early. All these points highlight the importance of diligent environmental control and thorough documentation. Addressing these deficiencies is crucial to maintaining compliance and ensuring product safety. Now, let's take a closer look at the differences between non-sterile and sterile HVAC systems. When it comes to non-sterile HVAC, the focus is primarily on quality and managing risks effectively. We implement controls based on a risk-based approach, which allows us to prioritize efforts where they matter most. The documentation burden here is moderate, meaning we keep enough records to ensure quality without overburdening the process. On the other hand, sterile HVAC systems are much more critical because they directly impact patient safety. Because of this, these systems require highly detailed documentation, ensuring every step is traceable and compliant. Continuous monitoring is essential to promptly detect any deviations that could jeopardize sterility. Additionally, strict validation and requalification processes are necessary to maintain the system's integrity over time. Connecting this to our overall theme, the key takeaway is that the level of control and oversight ramps up significantly when we move from non-sterile to sterile environments, reflecting the increasing importance of safety and compliance in pharmaceutical manufacturing. For further support, please don't hesitate to reach out. If you have any questions or need additional information, we're here to help. Just contact us through the details provided, and we'll be happy to assist you. Thank you so much for your time and attention today. We truly appreciate your interest and engagement.